It's time for me to tell you who my next favourite Doctor is in my list of 13 down to 1. Because again, it's not worst to best. I love them all for different reasons. My opinion isn't wrong. Neither's yours. Also, basing it solely on the TV adventures. And because of that, I would be a bit remiss to put John Hurt where I did and not order it this way. My 11th favourite Doctor is the 8th Doctor. Remember, Phoenix, think alarm clocks. The 8th Doctor is, well, here's the thing. When people say, who's your Doctor, they're either referring to the Doctor who you connected to the most when watching Doctor Who, or your first Doctor. If we were going off your first Doctor, this is my Doctor. My first memory of Doctor Who is sitting in a caravan in 1996, watching the TV movie go out on BBC One with my dad. He was really excited about this programme. I had no idea what it was about. In fact, you can hear all about that in my 9 is 10 podcast, Father Time, which I will link below in the description. But there was something magical about seeing Doctor Who for the first time through the eyes of a child, which were my own at the time, and the TV movie being my first adventure to watch. The TV movie is not a great introduction to Doctor Who, even though it was trying to be. However, Paul McGann's enthusiasm and energy really connected to me as a kid. Now, I liked the weird, quirky man who started the story, and I was really sad when he got shot, but when he turned into this other guy who was just bouncing around and going, the sky is dancing with light! Well, I was like, this guy is... wow! Like, as a kid, I completely connected to his passion and to his excitement. Now, Big Finish go on to do more stuff with the 8th Doctor, but again, I'm basing this solely on television, and he's only in the one story. So to rank him too much higher than John and Peter, with his era not being finished yet, would be a bit criminal, really, if we think about it. It's a good job I like all the Doctors, really, isn't it? Paul McGann brings this wonderfully vibrant, almost romanticised take on the Doctor that I find, especially in the TV movie. In the TV movie, he's meant to be a bit of a British heartthrob leading man, and that's definitely what he is, but he's still also the quirky Time Lord. He spouts out sci-fi babble. He name drops people he's hung out with throughout history, notable, like, you know, philosophers and musicians and everything. And then in Night of the Doctor, obviously we get a tiny little bookend, a tiny little epilogue for his Doctor, and you still feel that it's the same guy. He's a little bit more worn out at that point. He's gone through some shit, and he's tried to avoid some even bigger shit. But it still feels like him. Like when he's mocking Sisterhood of Calm, when he's like, you know, bring me knitting and all that, like it's still him there. Part of me thinks it's a shame that we didn't get to see Paul's full series that essentially the TV movie was a pilot for, a backdoor pilot. But a big part of me is even more happy that it didn't turn out that way, because then we got what we got in 2005 onwards. So, you know. And I'm never one to regret things like that. I'm always like, no, do you know what happened? Like, let's enjoy what we got. What adventure to recommend? I'm not going to recommend Night of the Doctor. It's great, but it's better in context. And the TV movie's the only choice. I wouldn't recommend the TV movie to a lot of people. If you're a Doctor Who fan and you haven't seen it, absolutely, do check it out. But it's not like a starting point, unless you are a 5-year-old like I was, and you're completely captivated by weird Alvin and the Chipmunks Daleks screaming at Gordon Tipple from off-camera. And of course, Eric Roberts' Master. I always dress for the occasion. It was Ramirez. Dark Knight quote. Whenever I see the Dark Knight and I see him being one of the mobsters in that movie, I just want to piss myself laughing, because I'm just immediately picturing his master. Ruins the whole thing for me. So what about Paul McGann? Is he your number 11, or does he rank higher on your personal list? And also, while we're at it, I have listened to a lot of his stuff with Lucy Miller from Big Finish. Again, didn't count Big Finish when making this list. But could you recommend some other 8 Doctor stories to me from the Big Finish range that I might want to check out at some point? See what you can come up with. As for me, I'll see you tomorrow for my next 31st favourite Doctor video. Ta-ra.